The uncomfortable truth many men eventually discover is this. Sometimes a woman keeps you close not because she is ready to choose you, but because she enjoys the hope you give her. And that hope slowly becomes the thing that keeps you stuck. You tell yourself she just needs time. You tell yourself she's still figuring things out. You tell yourself the connection is real, and if you stay patient long enough, she will finally choose you. But the hidden truth most men struggle to accept is this. Hope can be used as a form of control. And the worst part is that the man inside the situation rarely sees it clearly, because hope feels like progress even when nothing is actually moving. What we are going to talk about today is something many men experience but cannot explain. The pattern where a woman keeps emotional closeness with you, keeps communication with you, keeps just enough warmth with you, but never actually commits to you. And this creates a confusing emotional space where you feel almost chosen, but never fully chosen. By the end of this conversation, you will understand three important things. First, you will understand why this pattern happens in relationships more often than men realize. Second, you will start to recognize the subtle signs that hope is being used instead of real commitment. And third, you will understand what a man with self-respect does differently in this situation, so he does not lose years of his life waiting for clarity that never comes. And if you appreciate honest conversations about relationship psychology and male self-respect, you can quietly like the video and subscribe, not because numbers matter, but because men who understand these dynamics early protect themselves from confusion that ruins a lot of good men's lives. Now, here's where the emotional confusion usually begins. A man meets a woman and the connection feels real. She talks to him often, she laughs with him, she shares things about her life. Sometimes she even says things that sound serious. Maybe she says she likes him. Maybe she says she feels safe with him. Maybe she says she's not ready for a relationship right now, but she values him deeply. And at first, that sounds reasonable. Life is complicated. People move at different speeds. A patient man does not want to pressure someone he cares about, so he waits. But this is where men usually misunderstand the situation. What looks like patience on the outside can slowly turn into emotional dependence on the inside. Because when a woman keeps you emotionally close without committing to you, she is still giving you enough emotional reward to keep your hope alive. She may text you often, she may call you when she's bored, she may come to you when she needs emotional support, she may even become affectionate in small ways, but commitment always stays just slightly out of reach, and the mind of a hopeful man begins to build explanations. Maybe she is healing from the past, maybe she is afraid of commitment, maybe she just needs more time to see how serious I am. But this is the part nobody explains clearly to men. Real commitment does not grow out of endless uncertainty. When a woman genuinely sees a man as someone she wants to build a future with, she does not keep him in emotional limbo for long. She may move slowly, yes. She may be cautious, yes, but her direction becomes clearer over time, not more confusing. And that difference is extremely important. The first sign of the hope manipulation pattern is when clarity keeps getting delayed again and again. At the beginning, she might say she needs time. That's normal, but months pass and the same answer keeps appearing in different forms. She says she is not ready yet. She says the timing is not right. She says she cares about you but doesn't want to rush things. And every time the conversation about commitment appears, it somehow disappears again without a clear direction. And the man inside the situation tells himself that patience is the right move. But what looks small here is actually the real problem. Hope without direction slowly drains a man's emotional energy. The second sign is emotional closeness without relationship responsibility. She may share her feelings with you, she may lean on you for support, she may want your attention when she feels lonely or stressed, but when it comes to defining the relationship, she keeps distance. And that creates a strange imbalance. You are emotionally present in her life, but she does not carry the responsibility that comes with a real relationship. And this imbalance quietly increases your emotional investment while her position remains flexible. And this is where men often make their biggest mistake. Instead of stepping back to observe the pattern, they try to prove their value more. They become more available, more supportive, more patient. They believe that if they show enough loyalty, she will finally realize what she has. But that reaction quietly strengthens the pattern instead of ending it. Another sign of this pattern is when the future is always spoken about in vague language. She might say things like, maybe one day, or we'll see what happens, or let's just enjoy what we have now. These phrases sound harmless, but they create emotional ambiguity. They keep the door just open enough for hope to survive. And hope is powerful. A man can stay in a situation for years if he believes the outcome is just around the corner. But there is something deeper happening psychologically here. Human beings tend to value attention that feels uncertain more strongly than attention that feels guaranteed. This idea appears in many relationship psychology discussions, and it's connected to how emotional attachment forms. When someone gives you warmth sometimes and distance at other times, your mind begins to chase the moments of warmth even more. The uncertainty increases emotional focus, and if a man doesn't recognize this pattern, he may mistake emotional intensity for emotional progress. Another sign appears when you notice that your role in her life becomes very useful but not fully respected. You are the person she calls when she needs advice. You are the person she complains to about other men. You are the person who listens to her problems. But when the conversation turns toward commitment, she becomes careful again. And this is where men often feel something is wrong but struggle to explain it. Because on the surface, she's not treating you badly. She is kind, she's friendly, she appreciates you. But appreciation and commitment are not the same thing. And the worst part is what this situation slowly does to a man's identity. He starts measuring his value based on whether she will finally choose him. He starts adjusting his behavior to avoid losing her attention. He becomes more careful with what he says, more afraid of pushing for clarity. And this quiet shift slowly weakens his sense of authority in the relationship. But this is where a deeper truth appears. Attraction and respect are strongly connected to how a person values their own time and emotional investment. When a man stays indefinitely in a relationship space where hope is the only thing holding it together, he unconsciously communicates that uncertainty is acceptable to him, and people tend to treat us according to the standards we accept. Now, this does not mean women intentionally manipulate men with bad intentions every time. Human behavior is rarely that simple. Sometimes a woman genuinely enjoys the emotional connection but does not feel the level of attraction or certainty needed for commitment. Sometimes she is unsure about what she wants. Sometimes she appreciates the attention but is not ready to close other options. These situations happen for many reasons, but regardless of the reason, the effect on the man can still be the same. He remains emotionally invested while clarity never arrives. And this is where emotional discipline becomes important. Emotional discipline means you don't allow hope to replace reality. It means you observe patterns instead of only listening to comforting words. It means you respect your own time enough to require clarity when a relationship becomes serious. A man with self-respect eventually asks a calm but direct question. Where is this actually going? Not in an angry way, not in a desperate way, simply in a clear way. And what happens next usually reveals the truth quickly. If a woman genuinely wants a future with you, that question does not push her away. It often brings the conversation into a clearer direction. But if the pattern has been based on emotional convenience rather than real commitment, that question suddenly becomes uncomfortable. And this is the point where many men face an important decision. Do they keep accepting uncertainty because they fear losing the connection, or do they step back and protect their dignity? This decision is not about pride, it's about identity, because a man who respects himself understands that emotional investment must move toward clarity, not endless waiting. So, what is the mindset shift here? The shift is simple but powerful. Hope is not a relationship. Effort is not a relationship. Emotional closeness alone is not a relationship. A relationship requires mutual direction, two people choosing each other with clear intention. And the practical action you can apply immediately is this. Start observing patterns instead of promises. Look at where your time and emotional energy are going. If months pass and commitment conversations always return to uncertainty, stop increasing your investment. Instead, calmly reduce the emotional access you give.
Focus on your life, your growth, your direction, not as punishment, but as protection of your own dignity. And there is one boundary every man should remember in this situation. Never stay indefinitely in a relationship space where hope is the only thing holding it together, because hope without commitment slowly drains a man's confidence, clarity, and time. When a woman truly values you as a partner, she will not need years to show it through her direction. And when a man truly values himself, he stops chasing hope and starts choosing clarity.